We are going to find inspiration in the Maximalist flower painting of Bibi Zogbe. She was a Lebanese born painter known as the flower painter, um, who moved to Argentina at a fairly young age, was married and then divorced and dedicated her life to painting. This is a portrait of her done by the famous painter Tamara de la Pica. She moved in, artsy circles in Argentina, was hosted salons, and was a well-known artist. But I think a lot of people think her work was maybe minimized and not seen as great as it is because her subject was flower painting at a time when still lifes of flowers were not probably in vogue. In the 20s and 30s. But if you look at these, they are just filled with energy and lines and abandon. Um, and what's really important to know is often she was painting flowers of her homeland of Lebanon. Um, so these artworks are just not about flowers. They are about her and her identity and a yearning for a place she had left. So what we're going to do tomorrow is I'd like you all to think about flowers that represent where you're from, maybe your cultural background, symbolism, because when you insert those kind of things into a painting, it makes it so much more meaningful. And we're going to find inspiration of how she just crowds things on. And to make these kind of paintings, you can't be tentative. Even if you've never painted before, flowers are the best subject matter. They're just lines and blobs of paint, really. And I will be there to help you pick color combinations, look for inspiration. But we're going to do multiple paintings, one on canvas and a couple on paper. And so I want you to think, and I will have some live flowers there for you to look at, but I'd really like you to think about what kind of flowers you could paint that in the way that her work reflected Lebanon would reflect you. And if you look, there's a lot of contrast in her colors, or some palettes are totally kind of neutralized colors, a lot of dark value with light value. But yeah, if you bring in an image or have an image on your phone or think about an image of a flower that means something to you, for example, here's a photograph of a Lebanese plant whose name is escaping me. And here is the painting that she did of that plant. So it's really different than that image we looked at, but definitely the inspiration is there. And then she took it to this abstract place. And again, this is thistle in Lebanon. And then she did a painting of it that is, sorry, this is slower than I thought, than this one. So that's kind of what we're going to do. She's not alone in doing the maximalist painting. Contemporary feminist painter Miriam Schapiro often did flower paintings and textile work. Playing on the idea that women paint flowers as a derogatory thing. And she turned them into these bold, kind of pop art artworks. Ofili is a contemporary painter who uses all sorts of layers and different materials in his work, but a lot of them are overlaid with this maximalist flower painting as the top layer, and they're really amazing if you can ever see his artwork. Florine Stettheimer was a New York painter, and she did these just crowded. They're not necessarily always flowers, but I thought we could look at this idea of the maximalist painter where you're just really shoving as many things into the canvas as possible. But she did do some flowers, and they were always kind of surreal looking and not really grounded in reality. But I thought she was something interesting to think about how some people just jam the canvas full of stuff. Klimt was a maximalist in his own way, if you think about it. Putting all of these, it's a much more subtle, a lot less wild energy in the paint marks, but again, every inch of it is filled with something, and that's kind of what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and fill the painting and trust the process that we'll be smart enough to make it messy. And maybe for some of you, this more subtle approach to having a lot of flowers on the page is more your style. But again, there's still difference in the composition. It's not just a solid mass of flowers. There's light coming through. Marian Estes did kind of pop art, also filling. This is just, I wanted to send it, just drop in a few more examples of other painters. So, what we are going to do is paint a lot of flowers quickly. I will be there to help you, but definitely consider what flowers define you and bring in an image of those. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.